Hello everyone, welcome you all. In the today's session, we are going to see one of the important feature in your Postman and how to write a scripting. Okay, so to understand what is scripting and how many ways we can write a scripting, how we can do validations by writing a script. So let us see a Postman documentation part. Let me open the browser and say Postman Learning. So this will go to Postman official website, Postman Learning Center. And here just go to begin learning. And here this is a basic documentation they have given for Postman. And if I just go to this section, writing scripts, and the first section they have introduced scripting and Postman. So once you open this section, they have clearly mentioned how many types of scripts we can write. So where exactly we can write the scripts. So if I just look at here, we can write scripts in two different places in Postman. So one is a pre-request script, the other one is test script. So these are the two kinds of script we can write. So suppose when I create a request, right? So before sending the request, the prerequisite script will be executed. So that is a pre-request script. This is called as pre-request script. Pre-request script will be executed before sending the request. So this is the one type of script. After executing this request, after sending this request, then the other type of script will be executed, that is called as a test script. So test script. So here you can clearly see what they have mentioned in the document. So before sending the request, pre-request script will be executed, and after successful completion of your request, and we will get the response. On top of this response, the request, once the response is getting means request is completed, then test script will be executed. So this is the execution order of your scripts. Okay, and before sending the request, we have a pre-request script, and after completion of the request, we will have a test script. Now, these two types of scripts we can specify in three different levels. So one is we can specify those scripts at the collection level, and we can specify at the folder level, because in the collection we can also create a multiple folders, and we can also add scripts at the request level. So these are the three different levels we have. Collection, within the collection we have a folder, inside the folder we can create a request. So we can add pre-request script and test scripts both at the collection level or folder level or request level. So this is a order of execution. Now let us see, let us try to add some sample scripts in three different levels. I will show you how to add pre-request script as well as test script, and then we will execute one request, and after that we will see in which order they are executing exactly. So now let me just go to the Postman tool. Now here I'm just creating a sample collection. Let's take new collection, and here I'll say order of execution. So I'm just giving some name to the collection called order of execution. I'll say create. Now under this, I'm just going to create one sample request, and for that I'm just going to open in sample API, let's say a request and response .in, and here I'm just taking some small request. They are sample demos they have given, and here I'm just taking one small get request. I'll say get single user. So this is a URL. So let me just copy this URL, and then this will give you a record. Now go to the Postman tool, and then I'll create one get request. Okay, this is a simple request I created, and which I will save under order of execution. So I'll say save under, go to the collection, order of execution, and then save it. Okay, so now this is the just request we have created. When I send this, we got some response. So now I'm going to create a pre-request script and a test script at a collection level, folder level, and a request level. Okay, now if I just go to the documentation once again, and if it just come down, and if I just look at here, let me just increase the size of the page. So this is a page basically they have given. So here, this is my request, and we'll get the response. And when I create a pre-request script at the collection level, we can create folder level and request level. Similarly, we can also create a test script at the collection level, folder level, and the request level. So what is an execution order here is, before sending the request, first pre-request scripts will be executed from the collection, then folder, then request. Okay, and then request will be sent. After request is sent successfully, we got the response. And after getting the response, then test script will execute from the collection, and test script will execute from the folder, test script will execute from the request. So in whichever order the pre-request script is executed, in the same order, the test script also will be executed at the collection, folder, and request. So this is the execution order of your scripts. Now what I will do is, I already created one collection. Inside this I will create a folder, then I will create one request. So I will add pre-request script for each level, and also I will add test script for each level, and then we will see the execution order. So now let's go to the Postman, and here a collection I created. Inside the collection I will create a folder. Folder contains the request, so that is the order. So under this collection, if you want to create a folder, I can say click on the three dots, and you can see something called add folder. I'm just creating an add folder. I'll name it as my folder. I'm just giving some name as a my folder, and then say create. Now the collection contains a folder, and now I'm just moving this request into this folder. Just drag and drop. Now I have a collection, I have a folder. Inside this I have a request. Okay, so now I'm going to add pre-requisite script. If I just open the request, and here you can find pre-request script and a test tab. So in the pre-request script, we can write some statements or script which will execute before sending the request. And whatever scripts we have added in the test tab will be executed after completion of the request. Okay, and the same two tabs you can find at the folder level also. If I just go to the folder, select the folder, and just click on edit the folder. Now you can see here pre-request script and a test. So here also we can add a script, and the same thing will be there for collection level also. Just right click on the collection here and edit the collection. Now you can see this is a collection, and here also you can find pre-request script and a test. So what does that mean is, we can add pre-request script and test script at collection level, folder level, and a request level. And the execution order will be like this. First collection level pre-request will execute, then folder level, and then request level. And after completion of this, then request will be sent. Once you got the response, then again collection level test script, folder level test script, request level test script will be executed. So this is the order of execution. Now what I can do is, I will just write a sample script in 3 different levels. So first of all, let me just go to collection level. And if I just right click here and edit, now I have opened the collection edit window, and here I can specify pre-request script, and here I can specify test script. So under pre-request script, I'm just writing a simple message, and this script will be executed, and we can see output in our Postman console window. Now I'm just going to add some piece of code here. I'll say console.log, and whatever message we can write in the double quotation will be printed in the console window once execution is completed. So here I'm just writing a simple message. Let's say this is collection level pre-request script. Okay, simple message I'm writing. Okay, just we will see the execution order. So console.log, this is collection level pre-request script, and copy the same statement, and I'm just saving update. Now I have added pre-request script at the collection level. Now come to the folder level, and the folder level I'll say edit. Now go to pre-request script, and here also I'm adding one more statement, console.log. This is folder level. This is folder level pre-request script, then update. Now come to the request level. So once you selected a request, we will see pre-request script here, and here I'll say console.log. This is request level pre-request script. Now save it. So now what we have done is we have added pre-request script at the collection level, folder level, then request level. So now I'm going to add test script in 3 different levels. Now again go to collection level. One more time I'm editing, and we already added pre-request script, and this time I'm going to add test script. So here I'm saying collection.log. This is collection level test script. So normally we will write some kind of validations here, and here I'm just showing you the execution order. So that's the first step, and later we will see how we can add more number of scripts. So here I'll say this is a collection level test script, and as update. Now come to the folder level and edit the folder, and pre-request script we already added. Now test script I'm adding. So this is folder level test script. Now update. Now come to the request level and go to the test, and here I'll say this is request level test script. All right, so then save it. So now what we have done so far is we have added some script, pre-request script and test script, both at the collection level, folder level, and request level. Now let us try to execute our request. That means we have to execute our collection. Then what happens is the pre-request script will be executed from these 3 levels. And once the request is completed, then test script will be executed from 3 different levels. So now let us see and execute our collection. So to execute our collection, what you have to do is, and here click on this arrow mark, and it will show you a run option. And you can just click on this run, and this will open the runner window, collection runner window. And here I'm selecting my collection. Let me just go to collection list, and here my select collection is order of execution, and under my folder this is my collection I want to execute. And you can say iteration 1, delay time 0, and the most important, I'm just open the console window so that we can see exact order of execution. So open the console, and here I'm just running my collection, not yet initiated. I'm just run order of execution collection. So once it is run, okay, it is successfully executed. So now let us see the log. There we can see in which order it is exactly executed. Now this is a console log, we can see here, and it is closed. Once you can click on the console, you will see this. All right, so now this is actual request we have sent, that is a get request. Okay, now if I just look at here, this is a collection level pre-request script, folder level pre-request, request level pre-request script. So collection level, folder level, request level, pre-request script is executed, and then actual request is sent here. So after request is successful, then again collection level, folder level, request level, test script is executed. Okay, so whatever test script we have inserted at the 3 different levels, we have executed this after successful request. So this is exact order of execution. Okay, so what we have understood so far is, in our Postman there are 2 types of scripts available. One is pre-request script and a test script. So pre-request script is a script which can be executed before sending the request, and test script will be executed after completion of your request. So pre-request script, test script we can add at the collection level, folder level, and the request level. So this is a way we can maintain the order of execution. So now after this concept, we will see how we can write scripting in Postman, and which language we have to write a script in Postman. Okay, and also we'll see why we have to write a script. So let us see that. So the next topic I'm going to discuss now is Postman scripting using JavaScript and Chai BDD. So basically this is a Postman internally support JavaScript language and Chai BDD framework. So this is a kind of a framework which can be implemented on JavaScript. Okay, it is just like Java and TestNG. So with Java is a programming, and on top of that we can use TestNG as a built-in framework. Similarly, JavaScript is a language and Chai BDD is a kind of a framework. So in the Postman by default support this language JavaScript. by using a JavaScript, we can add a script. It can be pre-request script or it can be test script, whatever. So internally, Postman will use JavaScript and it will follow Chai BDD framework. Now we'll see what are the different type of scriptings we can, what is the different type of scripts we can add in the Postman, and what it is supported in JavaScript. We'll see that first. So again, if I just go to the documentation of Postman, let me reduce the size. Okay, now this is official document of Postman. Now you can see here, go to writing test, and here they have mentioned clearly what are the different methods we can write to validate the response. Okay, so writing test script, here I'm mainly focusing on the test scripts. So here, this is exact notation which we have to follow. So they have given simple example here, and this is basically a function which we have to create in JavaScript. Okay, so if you know about JavaScript, you can easily understand this, and it is very important to know JavaScript to write the scripting here. And to make it easier, the Postman is also provided some snippets, default snippets. And if I don't know the JavaScript programming, but you can still work with this by using these snippets, we can simply add the functions in the test and we can do some validations. Okay, so now these are some examples they have given. So this is a simple syntax they have given, and this is basically validate the status code. And similarly, once we get the response, we need to do some kind of validations. So something we have to verify the response body and the cookies. Sometimes we have to verify headers and we have to verify the response time, status codes, all these things. And we need to write some JavaScript functions and to validate all those things as part of the response. So they have given a lot of examples in the document and how we can verify a lot of things and different parts in your response. I will show you some of the important ones and which we can use very frequently in your projects, API testing projects. So now let us see. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm just taking one request, and then I will show you how we can add different type of tests, like by using JavaScript. Okay. Now let's go to Postman tool, and here I'm going to create another collection, new collection, and here I will name it as Postman scripting. So this is a new collection which I have created. Postman scripting. I'll say create. Now, so under Postman scripting, I'm just going to add one simple request from this demo API. Let's go back, and here single user request. So this is the same URL I'm just going to add, and if I pass here, this will give you the response. Now go to your Postman, and I'm going to create a new request under this Postman scripting collection. Just take the plus button here, and I'm sending the get request. Okay, now if I send this, which will give you some response which contains all the data. So all the two is a basically ID of the user, and which will give you some data here. This is a response. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some pre-request script. So suppose here I'm passing 2, right? So instead of hard coding this value, I'm just going to I'm going to pass this value as part of parameter. So before sending this request, if I want to execute any script, where I can specify inside the pre-request script, and that will be executed before sending the request, right? So now what I will do is I'll just go to pre-request script, and here I will define the value, so ID. So how we can define, I'll define a global variable. Okay, so for that we can just use this snippet. I can say set global variable. So you can just click on this set global variable, this link, and this will give you some statement. And by using this method, we can create a variable which contains a value. So this is also comes under a script, so which is pre-request script. Why I'm adding this under pre-request script? Because before sending this request, I'm going to assign this ID to the variable. Let's say here I will give something called user ID, and the value of the user ID is, let us say, 2. So 2 is a number, I'm saying 2. Okay, now I'm saving it. So I will save this collection, save to order of execution. So save it to another collection. Let me go to another collection. which we have created, Postman scripting. So I'm saving this request under Postman scripting and save to Postman scripting. Now I just saved it. Okay, so now for this request, I'm just added pre-request script. So what is this pre-request script? I just created one variable called global variable called user ID. The value of the user ID is 2. So when the script will execute, so this will execute before sending the request, and user ID contains some value. Now at the runtime, I'm just passing this value as a parameter. So I'll say double brackets, and inside this I'll pass this user ID. Okay, now what happens when I run this request? Before sending the request, pre-request script will execute, and which will create a global variable called user ID. The value of user ID is 2, and at the time of sending this request, the value of this user ID will be substituted here, and then request will be sent successfully. So once you send this, now we can see we got the same record, ID equal to 2. Okay, and when I pass something different, let's say I'll make it as a 3. Now send this. So now we got the ID 3. Okay, so similarly we can change this value here, and because this script will execute before sending the request, so user ID will be assigned to the 2, and this will be substituted here at the runtime. So now we got the proper data. So this is how we can add some pre-request script if you want anything. Now, so once we added this request, then I'm going to show you different types of validations. So how we can write the script to perform, to validate response fields like response body and cookies, headers, status code, timeline, all these things. Now go to the test tab, and here exactly we have to write our script. So they have given, Postman is already given some built-in snippets, and if I just click on the proper snippet, it will automatically add you the script here. And for example, I want to verify the status code after successful response. After getting the successful response, I want to verify the status code 200 is okay. So then what I should do is I can just check this snippet and say status code is 200. When I click on this, which will automatically add in one script, and this is basically JavaScript, guys. So pm.test, and this is just a description of the function. You can just change it if you want. And function, this is a syntax in JavaScript, and here this is a statement, and this is actually assertion which will validate the status code is 200 or not. Okay, and pm.test status code, this is a description of your test, and this is a function. This is a function definition in JavaScript. Okay, now this is a test script we have added. So once you send this code, and now we can see test results got passed, status code is 200 got passed, because we got the 200, and here also we are expecting 200, which is exactly passed. Okay, so this is how we can add test script by using snippet. And sometimes if there are any snippets not available according to your requirement or your expectation, then we need to add our own script. So here I'm just going to show you some sample script and how many ways we can validate this response. And we have seen how to validate the status code. So this particular script will validate the status code. And here I'm just added only one assertion. It is just verifying the status code. And in the response body, if I just look at here, there are so many fields we have. So I want to verify the ID, email, first name, last name. So these field values I want to verify. So that means we need to add more number of assertions, or multiple assertions I can add. Now I'll show you how we can add multiple assertions. So let's go here, and how to add multiple assertions. Let me comment something here. I'll say multiple assertions. And the first script we have added for status code validation. Status code validation, this snippet we have added. Now multiple assertions, how to add multiple assertions. So in this response, I just want to verify multiple things. I just want to verify ID, email, first name, and last name. I want to verify exact values displayed or not. All right, so now what we have to do is just go to the test tab, and here we have to write a small snippet. So how to write it? pm dot, it's a pm dot test, and here we have to write a description. So whatever description, so same syntax we have to follow. Let me just write the syntax, and here pm.test, and here the test description we have to write. Okay, so test description we have to write. Okay, so how to write the test description? So for example, I'll say validate multiple fields in response. Okay, and function, and here what I have to do is we need to add multiple values. So what are the things we need to validate here? So first of all, before validating the response fields, we need to parse this response. So basically this response in JSON format, so we need to parse it. So to parse this JSON response, we need to use a method called pm.response.json. So this is the one. So this particular method pm.response.json will parse this entire response, and we have to store that response in a variable. And I'll say response JSON. I've just created one variable called response JSON variable. Now from this variable contains the entire response, and now we need to extract the data from this response. So to extract the specific field and value, we have to use JSON path. So if it is a complex JSON, we can use a JSON path finder. So we have a Google Chrome extension which we already discussed in the previous session. So I'm just going to JSON path finder and paste the response JSON, and whichever field you want to verify, you can just say Control-C and specify the ID. Click on the submit, and then this will give JSON path. And if you want to locate this value, I need to specify data.id. And I want to get this first name. So then you can just copy the first name in the search node, submit, then you will get the JSON path. This will referring to this value. So by using JSON path, we can extract the exact value which is there in your response. All right, so now what I will do is just go to Postman tool. I already got the response, and from this response, I'm just going to data.id. And if I just look at here, if I want to get ID, so what is a JSON path for ID? Data.id. And this data.id we need to capture from the JSON response. So now here, whatever JSON response we got in this variable, from that data.id I'm capturing. And this ID should be, we have to compare this ID with our expected ID. So we need to write assertion like this, pm.expect. So this is again Chai BDD framework, guys. So Chai is one of the frameworks supported for JavaScript. So pm.expect, I will discuss all the sessions in as a one list after a few minutes. So here this is a one assertion, pm.expect, and this is a response JSON.data.id. We will capture the ID value from the response, and that should be equal to dot and EQL. This is a method, and here we have to specify what is a value we are expecting. So we are expecting 2 here. So this is one assertion. So one function can have multiple assertions. This is a one assertion which will verify the response ID with our expected ID. And similarly, we can also verify the email, first name and the last name. So the JSON path is also same, and here instead of ID I'll say email. And what's the email we are expecting? So this is the email we are expecting, and this is basically string, so we have to put in the double quotation itself. So instead of 2 I'll say string. So this statement will capture the email ID from the response, and we are comparing that email ID is exactly equal to this one or not. And this is another type of assertion. And here in one function we are adding multiple assertions. So suppose I want to verify even first name, and then I can add one more assertion. So here this is my first name. Instead of email I'll say first name dot to dot equal, and first name is this one. This is also string. And similarly I will also add last name. It's a last name. Weaver is a last name. That's it. So now we have added multiple assertion in single function, and this is a way we can add multiple assertion for single function, and each assertion will validate the response, the values are right or not. All right, so now save and exactly send this once again. So now you can see here, go to test results and validate multiple fields in the response got passed. Even one assertion is got failed, the whole result will be failed. Okay, so this is how we can add multiple assertions into a function. And we have to first capture the JSON response into a variable. Then we have to extract each and every field by using JSON path. Then we have to compare that value with our expected value by using to.equal method, right? And sometimes, suppose we will get response in not proper order. So here we got result in exactly JSON format. Everything is perfectly aligned. And sometimes we got response which is not properly aligned in JSON format, or it can be HTML or some other response. Right. So in those cases, we cannot exactly write our JSON path to extract that field. So in that case, we have to check something is present in the response or some text is present on the response. In case your response is not properly parsed, okay, and then how we can verify that? So to do this, what you have to do is we can just write one more assertion or one more snippet. I can say handling responses that don't parse. Suppose handling responses that don't pass. Here it is successfully passing the response, so that we are getting the fields exactly by using JSON path. But sometimes assume that the response is not properly passed, but still I want to verify something is present in the body or response. Then how we can verify? So for that also we have a snippet is available. I'll say I'm just copying this function as it is. And here the description I'm writing is body contains a string. Suppose I want to verify something is present in the response body. Body contains some string. So how we can verify that? So for that, we need to add some validation point. I'll say pm.expect, pm.expect, and here pm.expect, again pm.response.text, pm.response.text. Okay, and this text is actually one more method. So pm.response.text. So what this will get you? This will get you the entire response in the form of text. And that text, in this particular text, I want to verify something is present or not. Okay, so suppose for example, I want to verify something is present or not. So I can say this email ID is present or not. I want to verify. Okay, so for that, what I can do is pm.response.text. Okay, and dot include and include. So whatever the text we are expecting to be there in the response, we can specify that. Suppose I am expecting something called this email ID. I can just specify here. Okay, so same function, same syntax. Only thing is we are adding different type of assertions. So pm.expect, and this will give you the whole response in the text format, and .to include, this is a email which is included or not, I'm verifying. So when we have to use this, if you are not successfully pass the JSON format, or if it is some other format, then we have to use this to check something or some string or text or values present in the response or not. All right, so now save and execute. Now you can see the test results. We have added 3 functions so far, so even third one is also passed. Body contains a string. So response body contains a string. Okay, and I'll also show you one more thing. Sometimes when you send your request, we got some status code which is 200 UK, right? And suppose we don't know exactly what is the status code we are expecting, but I have 2 to 3 status code in my mind, and I'm expecting the status code should be one of the list. Suppose I'm expecting either 200, 201 or 202. So I'm expecting the status code should be either 200 or 201 or 202, whatever. One of the status ID should be exactly match with our expected. So how we can specify that? So here verifying the status code with a single value, but I want to verify the status code should be part of one of the value in the list. Okay, and then how we can specify that? Now I'll add one more script here, and this script is basically status code being one of the set. Okay, I'll say successful status code. Okay, some description is needed, and this is basically status code being one of the set. We can define the array here. So status code array we can specify, and even the status code is matching in one value in the array, our verification will pass. So successful status code here, what I can specify is the same function. So pm dot, and we have to change this assertion. Now here I need to write, let's say pm dot expect, and here we say pm dot response dot code. Okay, and here say pm dot expect pm dot response dot code. So what this code will do is, which will return the status code of the response, and this value dot 2 dot b dot 1 of, and here we have to specify the list. In array we have to specify. So I'm expecting status code, it can be 200 or it can be 201. So you can add any number of status codes here, and whatever status code you are getting after successful request, if that status code is matching with one of them, then this validation point will pass, or this test will pass. Okay, and this test will fail only if your status code is not matching with any of this list. So this is how we can specify multiple status codes. So this will verify the status code being one of the set. So you can include them all in your array here. So this is one of the script. Now let me save it, then execute. Then body contains a string. So here the last one, successful status code. So this is also getting passed. Okay, and so far whatever assertions we have added, all these assertions are verifying the response body and related to status code, right? Apart from this, we can also verify headers as well as cookies, which is also a part of the response. So now we will see how we can add script to verify cookies and headers. Okay, now let us start with the headers. Testing header. So this is double slash is just a comment. Postman will ignore that line. So now I'll show you how we can test headers part. Okay, so now here if I just go to the headers part, I already sent this request, I got some headers. So in this header, I just want to verify the, let's say take one of the header part, let us say content type. So this content type is available in the header or not. I want to verify this, whether the content type is available in the header or not, I want to verify. Okay, so now how we can do this? So whether the response header is present or not. Okay, now I just copy the same function, and here I'm just changing the description. So what is the description is, I'll say content type present, or I'll say content type header is present or not. Presence. Okay, this I am going to verify now. Content type presence or content type present. So for this, how we can verify this? Here we have to add one more statement. Let's say pm dot response, from the response to dot have dot header, pm dot response dot to dot have header. And what is the header you are expecting from the response to be there? Content type. So that you have to specify in the double quotation. So the header is content. You can verify any of these headers. So we have, there are so many headers we have. You can write multiple statements for each header. So content type, so I'm saying semicolon. So this is a statement, and this will verify the content type is a which is a part of header or not. It will verify. So when I send this request, save and run. Now the last test results, content type header is present, so which is passed because the header contains a content type, so which is a part of your response. Suppose I want to verify exact value of the content type. So the content type value is this one or not, I want to verify. Okay, and for that I can add one more test. So content type value I need to verify. So how to verify the content type value? So to verify the content type value, we can just specify the statement like this. pm dot, we are expecting here, the value should be there. So here pm dot expect pm.expect, and first of all we need to capture the response. For that, pm.response dot headers dot get, and here we have to specify the header value, whatever header value we want to capture. So pm.response.header, from these headers get what kind of header it is, content type. So specify the header in the double quotations. Now what this statement will do, internal statement, pm.postman.response.headers.get. So from the response, from the headers, it will get the value of this header, and then that value we have to compare. So to.equal, that means equal, and here we have to specify what is the value should be there, and as part of the value, this is the value I'm expecting, that you can put in the double quotation. Okay, this is our expected, and then semicolon. So now we have verified the content type value is exactly this one or not. So we can also verify other values for other headers by adding multiple verification points. So now this will give you the value of the content type, and we are verifying that is equal to this one or not, the second parameter. Both are equal, this assertion will pass. If both are not equal, then assertion will fail. So this is how we can verify the header value. So now save and execute. Now you can just come down, test results. Now content type value is also passed. So this is how we can verify the header. So header is present or not, and the value of the header also we can verify. Now come to the cookies part. So once you send the request, we also get the cookies. So how we can verify the cookies? Next one. So testing cookies. So how to test the cookies? So first of all, we'll see the cookie is present or not. Once you get the response, we need to verify the cookie is created or not. And then I will show you what exactly value of the cookie. Okay. And just like a header. So first we have verified header is present or not. Then we verified header value. Similarly, first we'll check the cookie is present or not, and then we will verify the cookie value. So here for that, let me just copy the same function. And this is the description of the function. You can just change it. Here I can say cookie is present. Okay, now the validation I'm just going to add here. So how to check the cookie is present or not? I'll say Postman pm.expect, and here we can add a method called pm.cookies.has. Okay, so pm.cookies will give you all the list of cookies which has, and what is a cookie should be there. What is a cookie we are expecting? So this is a cookie value we are expecting, cookie name we are expecting, and dot to.b.true. So when I say true means we are expecting this cookie should be created once you get the response, and this will basically check the cookie is created or not. Right, so now let us save and send. So now we can just go to the test results, and now you can see here cookie is present. Okay, and suppose similar I want to verify the value of the cookie, which is right or wrong. So to test the value of the cookie, we can write like this. So let me just copy the function again, one more copy, and cookie value I'm verifying, cookie value check. So for that, what you have to do is again pm.expect, pm.cookies. So here we have to change this assertion. So pm.cookies, from that cookies, I'm just going to get the value of the cookie. So what is the cookie name that we have to specify? So this is a cookie name. So pm.cookies.get of cookie name. So this statement will get the value of this cookie, and that should be to.equal, and what is the value we are expecting? So this is the value we are expecting, which we have to specify here. This is the value we are expecting, and then semicolon. Okay, so this is the way we can check the cookie value is exactly this one or not. Right, so now save and execute, and go to the test results, and the last 8th one, cookie value check is passed. Right, so this is how we can verify headers and cookies from the response by writing the JavaScript functions. And we can also verify the response time. So sometimes once you send a request, we will get the response, and we can also check the response time within the particular time which is coming or not, especially while checking the performance of API. So how to test the response times from the API? So let me write another test. Response time. Response time. Okay. Now here I just copy the same function. How to verify the response time. And description I'm changing. So I want to verify whether the response time is less than, let's say here it is taken almost 18 milliseconds. So I want to check the response should be in the less than 20 milliseconds. I'm expecting the response should be within 20 milliseconds. So here I'm just verifying one more point. I'll say response time less than let's say 20 milliseconds. So this is just a description I have given, and here we need to check it. So how much time it is taking? I'll say pm dot expect, and here postman dot response time. So it will give you response time, and this will give you the response time of your API, and then to be, and here we have a below, and it should be below 20 milliseconds. I say b dot below 20. So what is 20 means? 20 is a milliseconds. I'll say semicolon. So here where I'm expecting the response time should be less than 20 milliseconds. Okay. Now let's save and execute. So now it is getting failed. Now why it is getting failed? Because here you can see response time is 29 milliseconds it is taken, because every time it will not take the same time, it will vary. So I said only 20 milliseconds because the response time is more than 20 milliseconds. It's taken 29 milliseconds here. So that's the reason this is getting failed. So now I'll just try to increase this as a 50. Now execute one more time. So now it is taken 13 milliseconds only, but we have specified 50. So it is less than 50 milliseconds. 13 is less than 50. So it is getting passed. So this is how we can also verify the response time. So this is how we need to add JavaScript in the tests. Okay, so you can have different type of snippets are provided here. And if you're not familiar with the script, you can just use a snippet, a predefined script, which will automatically add the function, and you can just change your expectation. Okay, and you can just refer a small document, and whatever document here I provided, so which contains all the information, what the different type of assertions we have, everything is provided. And you can just going to see this document, script references, and here you can say test script examples. They have given a lot of examples and how to verify a lot of things from the response. So the same example I have used in my session. So some of them and rest of them you guys can go through the documentation and you can just read out and then use as part of your practice. So testing headers, testing cookies, testing response times, all these things are provided here. And basically it is internally using Chai BDD framework, guys. So there's a main source of putting all these things, and you can just clearly see here. So Postman test can use Chai assertion library BDD syntax. And if I just click on this link, and which is given all the assertion methods, so you can just see this API reference. So these are the different chains we have used as part of your validation points. You can just see expect, dot deep, dot nested. There are so many options are there in this framework, and if you are familiar with this, you can use a lot many options as part of your scripting, Postman scripting. Okay, so I have just covered the basic things, how we can write Postman scripting to validate the basic things, most commonly validated items: response body, status code, status time, okay, and headers, cookies. So these are the common things which you have to verify as part of your response. I'll provide all the links in the description. You can get it from there. All right. So with this, we have done with Postman scripting using JavaScript and Chai BDD. Now, I'm going to discuss one more important topic, which is also related to something called scripting. And so far even in the previous sessions also, we have seen how to send different type of requests like get request, post and delete request for different type of REST APIs. Okay. So now I'm going to show you something different, like we can create our own API. Okay. And we can test our own API. Like say, I'll just create my API. I will run that API in my local system. So even if you don't have an internet, you can still run that API and you can test that API. And once you put that into production, that is become again web service, right? So now I'm going to show you that. And at the same time, I'm also going to cover one important test case, that is file upload and download. Most of the times, guys, a lot of people will face issue here. So when I'm trying to upload files or download files through UI, exactly as a user, I don't know exactly what exactly happening inside, right? So when I'm trying to upload a file internally, there will be some REST API which will execute, and that will exactly upload the file. Similarly, when you're trying to download the files, corresponding REST API will be executed and it will allow you to download the file. Okay, now I'm going to show you this particular scenario, file upload and download at the UI level as a functional tester or a GUI testing, how we can do this on the UI level and how exactly it will map with the API. So if you want to test UI, how we can do the testing, and if you want to test the APIs like file upload and download API, how we can test them at the API level testing and GUI level testing. So both I'm going to show you simultaneously. So for that, I have designed one API, REST API, and by which we can simulate file upload and download scenarios. Okay. So for that, I'm just going to give some instructions and you guys can follow the same instruction to simulate that. So to explain this particular scenario like file upload and download, we need one REST API. Okay. So I already implemented that REST API and I'll show you how to download and how to set up that API and how to run it in your local machine. And later I will show you how to send the different type of request. Okay. So for that, what you have to do is, now I'm going to talk about this thing. File upload download using REST API. Okay. Using REST API. This is a concept we are going to discuss now. How to upload download using REST request API, REST API. Okay, so for that I'm just going to introduce one application. So what I can do is, and go to this URL. Okay, so it's a demo app and this is basically GitHub repository URL which I have. So I already uploaded this app in my GitHub. You can get it from there, you can download from here. So this is the one. So this is basically a Spring Boot application which is developed for uploading and downloading functionality, which is a REST API implementation. Okay, so you can just clone the repository or you can just download as a zip and you can extract the folder. You will find some files. I have clearly given these instructions also in the README file and how to set up this API in your local machine. So I will also show you this, how we can do this step by step. So what I can do is, as a first step, just open this URL. I will share this URL in the description. Later you can get it from there. And open this URL and then download this. So once you downloaded zip, and you can find that as a zip file. Okay, so I already downloaded it earlier, so it is there. Okay, so now extract this folder. So once you extracted, you can find one more folder and inside this you can find a development file. So these are the files which I have developed. So you don't need to do this anything with these files. So just download this folder and keep this folder somewhere in your drive, C drive, E drive, wherever. So I already put that folder here, Spring Boot file upload, download, REST API. So here I kept all the files. Okay. So once you kept all the files here, there's a step one. So download the entire stuff in the form of zip file, extract that into folder and keep that folder in a drive. And to run this particular API in your local machine, the prerequisite is you need to have Java and Maven softwares, because this is a Spring application, Java based application. So you need to install Java and Maven. So these two are the prerequisites you should have in your machine to run this particular API on your machine. Okay. And after extracting the folders, just open the command prompt in the folder and just open the command prompt And once you get the command prompt like this, here you have to just execute one command. So what is the command you have to execute here is, you have to execute this command. I'm just copying this. So this is a command. Okay, so I will also write the steps. The first step is open Windows command prompt and open the directory. So where exactly you have extracted this folder which contains all the files, we have to open the command prompt there itself. And then we have to just run the jar file. So if I just go here, inside the target, here we have a jar file. Everything is bundled together in the jar file. So if you run the jar file, which will start your API. So I'm just giving java.-jar. So in the target folder, I have this file. We have to just run this command in the command prompt. Okay, so I'm just running it. I'm just copy here. One sec. Copy and paste it over here and then execute. So once you run this command, it will start your Spring Boot application, and after few seconds, it will start your API. And it will also create an UI application, guys. I will also show you that. So then you will see exactly the difference between UI testing and API testing. Okay, so now we can see it is started. So you can just see some confirmation message, you can start it. And don't close this window till you're working on APIs. Okay, now just close this window, nothing. So once you run this command through the command prompt, then that's it, your application is started. So you can access the application by using URL. So application URL. So this is the same. Okay, sorry, just a moment. Okay, just a second. So in the next line, I'm writing application URL. This is your application URL. Okay, 8080 port number. So you can just open this URL on the browser and then you will see the UI. So this is actual UI. If I test anything in this, like say choose file, submit, and you can also upload multiple files. And if I do testing on this UI, that is a UI testing or functional testing, right? But when you do this functionality internally, APIs will execute this. APIs will get the request and process the request and get the response. So APIs will internally do this job. But here I'm not going to do anything with the UI. So I'm just showing you how the application will be. So internally this UI will talk to the API and API will exactly process it. Now we are not going to test this UI. We are going to test the APIs, especially two different functionalities, how to upload single file, how to upload multiple files, and also I will show you how to download the file using REST API. Okay, all the operations we are going to do using REST API. Now, but what are the URLs which we have to use? So I'm just going to show you those URLs. So let's go to the Postman directly. Now I'm going to show you how to upload single file and multiple files, and then we will see how to download the file. So you should not close this window until unless you are stop working with the API. So just minimize this window. So because your API is up and running. So this is the way you have to test your APIs locally, guys. If you want to run this, you don't need internet because your API is running in your local machine itself. So by using this URL, you can access your application. REST API, you can access it. Okay. But once you push this code in the production, then it becomes a web service. And then you will get the proper URL. So currently it is hosted in my local system. So I can use this without internet also. Now, so let us see how we can test REST APIs for this. So for that, I'm just going to create another connection. Go to new collection, and here I'll say new collection files, file upload and downloads. This is my collection name, file upload and downloads. There's a create. Okay, now under this collection, I'm going to create multiple requests. So for now, I'm just going to upload a file. Okay, I'm going to upload. My currently application is up and running. Okay, because this is a cross check. Once you open this URL, you will able to see the UI. So that means your application is up and running. So once you stop closing this, once you close this command prompt, your API stop running. Okay, so you need to just minimize it and start working with that. Now I'm going to show you how we can upload single file and multiple files, and also I will show you how to download the files, and also we will add some validation points. So now let's go to Postman tool, and I'm just going to create a new collection. Here we are uploading the files, means we have to send a post request. So here I'm just taking a post request, and for the post request, so this is a URL, guys. This is the URL which we have to use for uploading single file. I'll say single file upload. I'll share all the notes in the description later. You guys can get it from there. So single file upload. And to upload the single file, this is the post request we have to send. I'll copy this URL and then put that into Postman. And when I send the post request, we are uploading the file. So what we have to do, we have to go to the body, and here we have to specify the file, what kind of file we are able to upload. For that, we have to take the form data, this is the option, and here specify some key called file. And here from the drop down, let me just remove this for now. And we have to select the file here from the drop down. And you can, if you want to give some name here, I can say file is a key. And here we can select either single file or multiple files. So this request is only for single file upload. This URL is only meant for single file upload. So I'm just selecting one file. So select files. Now I'm going to select one file. I already have some files, two files I have, test file 1, test file 2. A sample submit data, you have to dummy data, you have to create before itself. So I'm selecting test file 1.txt, and you can also upload image files, PDF files, any other files. I'm selecting test file 1.txt and say open. So now I have selected single file, and this is my request. And suppose in the real time, if I have any authentication or authorization details, you can pass username and password or token, all these things, and then only you can upload the files. So here I don't have those options. I can just specify the post request URL and then browse the file. And once it is done, now let me just, before that, let me save it under, I'm saving under which collection it is file upload and download. So this is a single file upload. I'm saving it as single file upload, single file upload. Let's say just a moment, I'll say single file upload. All right, so now save it. So now let me just send this request and see. So once you send the request, so now we got some response. Now we can see here, this is the response. So file name, what is the file name we have specified, and where exactly it is uploaded. So the URL of from where we can download the file, and what is the type file. So text/plain. So if you're uploading something called JPG or JSON or some other format, the file type will be changed. And also it is giving size of the file, and status code is 200, which is okay. Fine. So this is how we can test the API. So exactly whenever you do something from the UI also, whenever you choose a file, clicking on the submit, internally this particular API will be triggered. And whatever file you have passed here, that file will be passed as a body for this API, and then it will process the request. So this is actual thing will happen in the projects. Okay. So if you do the testing on the UI level, this is a GUI testing, functional testing. And once you come to the API, this is, once you test the API directly, this is the API testing. Okay. So now we have successfully uploaded single file and we got some response, right? So now how we can validate? So I want to validate the status code is 200 or not. And also I want to validate something called file name is exactly right or not. So whatever file I have uploaded, it is exactly the same file or not. So I want to verify that. So for that, I need to add some test. Go to the test tab, and here I'm adding a function. Let's say pm.test. And if you want to add, you can also add some snippet, and then you can enhance it. So how we can add snippet here, you can find, you can status code, you can add first, and a status code should be 200, which is already there. And now I'm going to add I'm going to verify the file name is testfile.txt or not. So I'm just going to add one more assertion function. So pm.test. Here I'm going to verify response body. I'm verify a response. So here what I'm going to verify is, I want to verify the file name is testfile1.txt or not. Okay. So for that, how we can get this value? Again, this is a JSON format. To get this value, we have to specify the JSON path. Now go here again. It is a small JSON, we can easily identify. So I just want to get the file name. So I just say file name, and just say data.id, sorry, submit, then dot file name. So this is only the path we have to specify to get this value. So what I will do is go to the test, and here I'm writing, first of all, we need to capture the response, right? So I'll say pm dot response dot JSON. Okay, so this will give you entire response in the JSON format. I'm storing that response in a variable. I'll say response JSON. I'm just created one variable called response JSON, and now this variable contains a whole response. Now I need to I'm expecting something to be there in the response. So here I'll say pm dot expect, and what you are expecting from the response JSON dot the file name. This is a field you're expecting, the file name, and this will get you the value of the file name, and that should be 2 dot equal, and the title should be, the file name should be test file 1.txt. that you have to specify, test file 1.txt. that's it, and then semicolon. So this is a validation point, guys. So once you successfully upload the files, you got some response here, and whatever file you have uploaded, the file name is exactly same or not, you can verify. And if you want to verify other details also, you can add multiple assertions in the same function. Okay, so this is how we have added status code verification and then file name verification. So once again, let me try to upload. Now save and send. So now we got this, and test results both are got passed. Okay, so this is how we can test REST API, file upload for REST API. Okay, now here we have just uploaded only single file, and if you want to upload multiple files, suppose if I see the scenario here, we can also upload multiple files through UI, but how the API will be triggered. Now let me show you how we can send API request to upload multiple files. So for that, I'm just going to create one more collection, and this is also post request because we are going to upload multiple files. Okay, so here the request URL is, this is for single request, single file upload. Now I'm going to show you multiple file uploads, multiple file uploads. So now here also we use a post request, and instead of upload file, we use upload files, multiple upload files. Let me just copy it here. This is a URL. So upload multiple files. Now let me send this. Go to the Postman, and I'm sending the post request, and now go to body, and here we have to browse multiple files. Go to form data, and here previously we have sent only one file. This time we have to send multiple files. So you can just create one variable called files, and now here I'm just going to select multiple files. So select files, and here test1 and test2, select 2 files, or you can send multiple files also, and you can select more than 2 files also, and just select 2 files and say open. Now you can say 2 files are selected, right? So you don't need to pass anything else. If there are any authorizations, you can just need to pass like token, username, whatever, bearer authentication. If it is there or not, you can leave. Now I have uploaded 2 files, and this is the request I'm going to send, post request, and then save. I'm first saving it before sending under the same collection. This is multiple files upload. All right, so now save it. All right, so now let me send this request. So now once you send, we have uploaded 2 files. Now you can see 200 is the status code, and this is the response of first file, and this is the response from the second file. Okay, now if you want to add some validation points, again we can add. Suppose just go to the test, and here we have to add, suppose status code is a basic thing which we have to validate every time. So I'm adding status code validation. So I'm just click on the snippet, and it is added. And after that, I need to also verify the file names. So here the file name is this one, testfile.txt, and here the file name is testfile2.txt. So I need to verify both the file names. So for that, what you have to do is just go to the previous request. We also added one verification point to verify the file name, right? So just copy the same thing and slightly I'll modify here. Observe this. Previously we verified only one file. So expect response json.file name .2 dot equal this one, but this time we have two files. Okay. So what you have to do is we have to copy this JSON response, go to the JSON finder, and now I want to extract the first name from this and here. So two places here, test file 1 here, test file 2 here. So I want to extract the JSON paths of two different fields, file name fields. Now specify file name, submit, then you can find two JSON paths. So when I use this path, I'll get the name of the first file. When I use this path, I'll get the name of the second file. So how we can specify here is, I can say like this. So response.json, once we got the JSON response here, instead of file name, I can say 0 position, right? So 0 dot file name. Okay, because this is a path, so 0 dot file name. So this will give you the name of the first file, and that should be equal to test1.txt. Similarly, if you want to verify the test2 file, I'll say 1 dot file name index. So you can see 1 dot file name is representing the second file name. So response json1 file dot 1 dot file name dot equal to, this should be equal to test file 2.txt. Okay, so now I'm verifying the two file names from the same response. I'm getting the file names by writing the JSON path. Okay, so now let me save it. Now let us run this test. So this is going to upload multiple files. I'll say send. Now we can see it is successfully uploaded. Now we got the test results. So verify response is got passed. Right, so this is how we can test, upload a single file and upload multiple files through REST API. Now I will show you how we can use the same REST API for downloading the files. So for that, I'm going to create another request. And now this time we are going to download the file. That means we are requesting the file from the server. So we are going to send a GET request. So here, download file. So how to download the file? We have to send a GET request. So the GET request URL I'm going to specify here. So if I just go to my Postman tool, we already upload a single file, right? Let me just run the request once again, and this will going to upload a file. So it is uploaded and it is giving file download URL, right? So this particular URL you can directly use to download the file. So copy this URL. Now go to the GET request. Let's take a new GET request, specify the URL. Now I'm going to download test file 1.txt. Okay. Now I'm just going to send this request, just a GET request. Now you can see it is downloaded and it is as part of response, it is giving the text or data which is present inside the file. As a response, it is given. It's a text format, basically it is given. And if the file is something like JSON or XML or whatever different formats, then it will show you the proper format. And according the data will be aligned. So currently it is a text file which contains a small text and which is displayed here as part of the response. So this is how we can send a REST API request to download the file. Suppose I want to verify some text exactly which is present in this file or not. Then what I can do is I can just add test.dat, and here I can add some status code again 200. I can add snippet for testing the status code. And apart from this, I can also add something which will verify the text in the response. So here I'm verify text value in response. Sorry. So verify the text value in the response. Verify text value. So how we can verify here is, first of all, we need to capture the response. So how to capture the response here? pm.response.text. So this method will get you the response. And once you get the response, we have to check. So in this response, we should have some value. So here I'm adding one assertion. Let's say pm.expect, and here I'm expecting something. So this will give you the whole text from this response. And in this response, I am checking dot include. Include is a method. So here I'm just checking whether this value is included or not, XYZ. So this is the assertion. So in this response, whatever response I'm getting as a text format, which should include XYZ. So I'm verifying this. You can also verify the first message by adding another verification point. Okay, so now we have added one more validation and say save and send. 1 second, I have not saved it, I'm just saving it. Click on the save, and under same collection I'm saving it as file download, file download, and say save. Okay, now I'm going to execute. So now it is successfully executed. We got 200 status code, and go to the test cases. Both verification points are got passed. Okay, so this is how we need to test REST API for single file upload, multiple files upload, and also we can do file download scenarios. Okay, so before testing this, you guys can follow these instructions. So this is the demo application which I have uploaded, which is implemented in Spring Boot application. So you can just download from GitHub and follow the instructions to run that API, and don't close this command prompt till you completed your task, and then test all the requests. I'm also giving the get request URL. I'll copy all the notes in the description. You guys can use that. Okay, so this is how we can achieve file upload and download scenarios by using REST API, guys. So far what we have discussed in our session. So what are the different type of scripts available? Pre-request script and test script. And before sending the request, pre-request script will execute. After completion of the request, test script will be executed. And also we can insert this pre-request script, test script in the 3 different levels: collection level, folder level, and request level. And also we have seen different scriptings, how we can validate response body, response fields, header, cookies, status codes, response time, all these things. To validate, we can add scripting into the Postman. And finally, we have seen how to test file upload and download scenarios by using REST API. For that, I have used some demo application. I have run that in local machine, and then I have tested REST APIs for file upload and download scenarios. Okay, so that's all for today's session. I will copy all the notes in the description. You can get it from there and practice. All right, so thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.